I never thought a friendly babysitting gig with a puppy at my side would end with me standing in a stranger's living room, watching two moms face off over what my time was actually worth. The second that Dad told me my job was easy money and slashed my pay without warning, I knew everything about this family was about to change. Let me start from the beginning. I'm 20 years old, living in Southern California, and I've been babysitting for this one family for 2 whole years now. I watched their 3 kids, a 6-year-old boy, a 5-year-old boy, and a 3-year-old girl, usually 2 days a week, Tuesday and Wednesday evenings, from 4 to 8. They've been paying me $30 an hour, and honestly, the arrangement has worked beautifully. I walk over to their house straight from my college classes, and the best part? They let me bring my puppy along with me. It's been such a sweet setup. Then came Sunday night. They asked me to babysit for a date night, which was outside our usual schedule, and I was happy to help out. But when they paid me this afternoon, something felt off. I counted the cash twice. They had given me $25 less than what I was owed. At first, I assumed it was just a mistake. People get distracted, miscount, forget. So I sent the dad a polite text asking if there had maybe been a mix-up with the payment. Instead of a text back, my phone rang. It was the dad. And the second he started talking, I could tell this wasn't going to be a quick "oops, my bad" conversation. He told me, very matter-of-factly, that he felt $30 an hour was too much to pay me for watching 3 kids he described as self-sufficient. Those were his exact words. Self-sufficient. He said all the kids do is watch TV or play video games, that it's an easy job, and he decided he was paying me too much. He told me $25 an hour was more appropriate going forward. And then he added the part that really made my stomach turn. He said, because I'm still in college, $25 an hour was still great money for a college student. On top of that, he mentioned how inflation was forcing him to cut unnecessary expenses. Unnecessary expenses. That's what I was to him. I just sat there holding the phone, kind of stunned. These people live in a 6-bedroom house. A 6-bedroom house. And he was shaving $5 an hour off the person watching his 3 children because I was an unnecessary expense. He even told me he'd spoken to his friends about it, and one of his friends supposedly pays their babysitter only $20 an hour for 3 kids, which he thought was a perfectly fair rate. The whole time he was talking, it felt like I was being lectured. Like I was a child being told how much pocket money I should be grateful to receive for doing my little chores. I didn't know how to push back in the moment. I just knew, a $5 an hour pay cut was too much. And something about the way he spoke to me made it clear this wasn't really about money at all. It was about control. Here's the thing though. The mom. She's always been really nice to me. When I first started 2 years ago, she was the one who bumped my pay up from 25 to 30 all on her own. But the dad is the one in charge in that house. I've noticed over the years that the mom kind of steps aside for him on everything. So I wasn't sure she'd even push back on this. After I hung up with him, I decided to text her directly. I asked if everything was okay and why they wanted to cut my pay like that, out of nowhere. She texted me back and said, it wasn't an easy decision, but ultimately her husband felt it was best to have a sit-down with me about my pay and what I'm doing as a babysitter. I read that message a few times. What I'm doing as a babysitter. As if there was some performance review happening that I never even knew about. I wrote her back and told her very clearly. I wasn't okay with the pay cut. And I reminded her they still owed me $25 from Sunday night. A few minutes later, the mom Venmo'd me the missing $25. Then she asked if I could come over the next morning to talk about my future with the family. I hesitated. But she reassured me that the dad wouldn't be there, so I agreed to go. When I walked into their house the next morning, I told her straight up. I wasn't happy with what they did. Taking money out of my payment without telling me first, that wasn't okay. And I told her I wasn't going to keep babysitting 3 kids for $25 an hour. She nodded, said she understood, and promised she'd talk to her husband about it. I left that meeting not really knowing where I stood. Later that same night, I headed to another babysitting job, a different family, but in the same neighborhood. All these families are friends with each other, which is going to matter in a second. I told the second mom everything that had happened. And that's when she dropped a bombshell on me. She told me that the first mom had already been secretly trying to find a new babysitter to replace me. And when she reached out to other sitters to get quotes, she got quoted $60 an hour for 3 kids. $60 an hour. The first mom had apparently been so upset when she heard that number, she didn't know what to do. Here she was, trying to talk me down to 25, while the actual going rate in the neighborhood was more than double that. The second mom looked at me and said, "You need to tell them you've raised your rates due to the rising cost of living." And then, while I was still sitting there processing all of this, her phone buzzed. It was a text. From the first mom. Asking if I was working for her tonight. The second mom replied yes. A little while later, before I was even done with the shift, the first mom showed up at the second mom's house. In person. She wanted to talk to me, right there, right then. She asked if I'd be willing to make something work with her, just until she could figure things out. And this is the part I'll never forget. The second mom stepped in. She didn't even let me answer. She looked at the first mom and said, "The going rate has changed. The babysitting rate for 3 kids in this area is $50 an hour." The first mom's face dropped. She said it was too much money. She tried to push back. I finally spoke up and told her, $30 an hour for 3 kids was too low to begin with. And I wasn't budging back down to anything close to 25. She went quiet for a second. You could see her doing the math in her head, 60 an hour from a stranger, or something reasonable from the girl her kids had known for 2 years. She caved. We compromised at $45 an hour. Here's where it gets even better. The dad? The one who started this whole mess by calling me an unnecessary expense. He's leaving for a business trip, for 9 weeks. The first mom told me she'd pay me $45 an hour in cash, quietly, for the entire 9 weeks he's gone. Then, once he's back, all 3 of us would sit down together and figure out a permanent new rate. I agreed, but only because he wouldn't be around. Honestly, I don't think I could stomach being in that house with him after the way he talked to me. The first mom admitted something to me too. She said she couldn't miss her tennis games or her Wednesday night dinners, and she was thankful I was a reliable sitter. She needed me more than she wanted to admit. So now, I have 9 weeks. 9 weeks to find another job to fill in those Tuesday and Wednesday nights, because I have a feeling once the dad gets back from his business trip and finds out what his wife agreed to, that sit-down conversation isn't going to go the way any of us are hoping. But honestly, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. I got a raise from the very people who just tried to cut my pay. I got the money I was owed. And most of all, I'll never forget the second mom stepping in and standing in my corner when I needed it most. She didn't have to say a word. But she did. And she changed the whole outcome of that conversation. She even told me after the first mom left that she'd ask around for me and reassured me it wouldn't be hard to fill those days with another family. I've got 1 more year of college left. Just 1 more year. I'm hanging on until I can graduate, and then I'm free of all of this. Thanks for letting me share my story.